This man went from platinum hits and Drake cosigns to having complete strangers stop him on the street just to pray over him like he was already gone.
Hey, brother, can I pray for you real quick?
Hell yeah.
Alright. Heavenly Father God, I pray for Kodak God.
From fighting addictions on and off camera to legal battles, and leaving everyone to believe that Yak was never coming back the same.
Y'all pray for Kodak.
This is how it all fell apart for Yak. Kodak's emotional meltdowns that left fans shook. When Kodak Black showed up on Kaisnat's Mafian 2 Twitch stream in November 2024, nobody was ready for what they were about to witness. The Super Gremlin rapper pulled up after making everybody wait for hours. And from the second he appeared on camera, something was off. Homie was rambling incoherently, dancing wildly with zero rhythm to speak of, ripping his shirt off in the middle of everything, stumbling over his own words when he tried to freestyle, and making bizarre comments that had absolutely nothing to do with anything happening around him. Kai himself looked like he did not know what planet this man had arrived from.
3 hours for bro to come out and does this.
That pretty much summed up the general mood. Fans watching the stream in real time were losing their minds in the chat, typing out prayers and begging for somebody to step in and get this man some help. Clips started spreading across every single platform within minutes. And one reaction video that went viral captured how serious people felt the situation really was.
But not this bad. It was bad.
And it kept getting worse. That same commentary went even harder, breaking down how alarming the whole scene looked to anybody watching with open eyes.
The Super Gremlin rapper appeared visibly high as a giraffe's nostrils, and his bizarre behavior throughout the stream often left Kai looking like a deer in headlights.
High as a giraffe's nostrils. That is a direct quote. Fam, the peak moment on the stream came when Kodak dug into his pocket, pulled out what appeared to be a white pill, tossed it up in the air like he was shooting a half-court shot, caught it clean in his mouth, and then dropped straight to the ground. Kai froze. The music stopped. The entire stream went silent. When somebody asked what just happened, Kodak played it off like the man had asked him what time it was.
That was a glitch for the Twitch. Play the song, zoom.
A glitch for the Twitch. That is what this man called popping a percoet on a live stream being watched by hundreds of thousands of human beings. He brushed it off like somebody had accidentally bumped a microphone. The clip became one of the most shared hip-hop moments of the entire year, and the reaction online was overwhelming. Comment sections across Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter turned into full-blown prayer circles. Fans were writing stuff like, "He needs rehab immediately," that this is genuinely sad to watch, and that the world needs to pray for Yak before it is too late. But Kodak was not trying to hear a single word of it. The very next day, he hopped on his own Instagram Live and went at the critics, telling everybody that he takes one perk and people completely lose their minds over it. He called the backlash overblown and said the folks complaining did not even like him in the first place. And then just to make his point crystal clear, or maybe despite every single person watching, he reportedly took another pill right there on camera during his own stream. This man doubled all the way down while the entire world was begging him to slow it down. That Kai Tennat incident was wild, but it was far from the first time fans saw something that genuinely scared them about Yak. 3 months before that stream in August 2024, Kodak posted something raw on his Instagram story that hit way different from any performance clip or meme. No cameras rolling, no music playing in the background, just text on a screen. He wrote that he finally understood nobody cared about him unless he was paying, and that he was lonely out here. Those words landed heavy with his fan base. It was not the kind of thing you could joke about or turn into a meme. This was a man worth millions of dollars, telling the entire world that all that money could not fill the hole that was eating him alive. Fans flooded every comment section with support and concern. People were writing that the little boy inside of him was hurting, that prayers were going up, and that this was proof that having money does not mean having peace. And it was not just one bad stretch. Throughout 2025 and into early 2026, fans kept reporting streams where Kodak appeared slurred, unfocused, and emotionally all over the place. Some clips showed him staring at his phone screen in complete silence for close to a full minute, saying absolutely nothing, just looking into the camera like he was somewhere else entirely. Others showed him swinging from laughter to visible distress within seconds. Fans started creating compilation videos with titles that straight up begged for attention, and the comment sections underneath them were filled with people expressing genuine fear that they were watching a man fade out in real time. Then came the moment that shook the internet harder than anything before it. In May 2025, during another Instagram Live, a fan brought up his relationship drama with his baby mama, Miranda Johnson, and Kodak completely broke apart. Not anger, not frustration, real uncut tears. His voice cracked, and he told his audience that he had never experienced love before in his life. He said he never had it. The camera caught him climbing into bed midstream, crying openly, not performing grief for the internet, but living it right there in front of however many thousands of people were watching. The clip spread across every platform within hours. YouTube compilations popped up overnight, and every single one had comment sections packed with people saying, "This man desperately needs somebody real in his corner." What made that particular moment even more painful was the context behind it. His ex, Miranda Johnson, had been publicly accusing him of being a deadbeat father. And worse though, his legal team came back swinging hard, calling those claims pure fiction and defamation. Either way, the man was caught in the crossfire of personal battles playing out in front of the whole world. And instead of pulling back from the spotlight, he ripped himself even more open. No polished statement from a publicist, no damage control, just a grown man on a screen admitting to millions of people that he had never felt loved, and the internet sitting there watching with its jaw on the floor. But nothing illustrated the gap between Kodak's words and the reality fans were seeing. Quite like a moment caught on the streets. A random fan walked up to Yak in person, asked if he could pray over him, and Kodak let him do it. The fan laid hands on the rapper right there and prayed for his protection, his guidance, and for God to remove the wrong people from his life. When that prayer ended,
I pray that you just guide him in this walk, God. I pray that you just grow his heart more and closer to you, God. I pray that you give him a fire, God. A fire for you, God. A fire to read your word, God. I thank you for this amazing encounter, God.
the reaction said it all.
Amen. Hallelujah. Yahweh to you, sir, brother. Wowzer. Damn. Let me get a hug, bro.
That clip went viral, too, but it hit people in a completely different way. This was not about drama or entertainment. This was a total stranger seeing enough pain in a famous man's eyes to stop him on the street and talk to God on his behalf. The comment sections were not full of jokes. They were full of amens, broken hearts, and people asking what went so wrong that this is where we are. Kodak's response to all this concern has been a mixed bag. At times, he pushed back hard, telling critics he stopped getting high a long time ago and that he was not about to justify himself to the internet. He said he did not get this far in life by being a crackhead and that only the people who actually mattered to him deserve an explanation. Other times, he laid himself bare, like with the loneliness post or the tears on live. Those two versions of Kodak exist side by side, and fans can never predict which one they are going to get on any given day. What everybody does agree on, though, is that this man is clearly battling something deep. And the worst part is that the emotional pain might just be the surface of what has been going wrong for Yak. Because behind the tears and the confessions, there is a substance abuse story that has been building for years. And it is far worse than most people realize. The addiction Kodak Black could never escape. Kodak himself has admitted just how deep the hole got. In appearances throughout 2024, he told fans that at the worst point of his Percoet addiction, he was chewing through an average of 40 pills every single day. And on the heavy days, it hit 100 Percoets in 24 hours. Yo, he said the only reason he is still breathing is luck. Because with fentanyl flooding the streets, getting pressed into fake pills every day, that kind of consumption should have put him in a casket 10 times over. He was not bragging about it either. He said he regretted the entire thing and warned fans not to follow that path. The addiction took off after he got shot in the leg outside a Justin Bieber-hosted Super Bowl after-party in February 2022. Doctors gave him a legitimate oxycodone prescription for the pain, and what started as medical treatment spiraled into full-blown dependency faster than anybody could have predicted. But the seeds had been planted long before that bullet ever hit him. Kodak had been referencing lean pills and heavy usage in his music since the jump, and multiple sources indicate his time in federal prison only deepened the problem. By December 2023, things went completely sideways in the most public way possible. Police found Kodak asleep behind the wheel of a Bentley in Plantation, Florida. When officers approached the vehicle and looked inside, they saw him with a mouthful of white powder. Homie tried to swallow the evidence right there on the spot. White residue was falling from his mouth, landing on the ground and inside the car. He told police it was Percoet, but initial field tests pointed to cocaine. He caught charges for cocaine possession and tampering with evidence. Over 2 hours of body cam footage from that night hit the internet showing a shirtless Kodak sitting in the backseat of a patrol car looking completely out of it. The whole thing went everywhere. Some fans were genuinely heartbroken watching the clips. Others roasted him, without mercy. But regardless of how people reacted, the image of one of Florida's biggest rap stars getting caught asleep at the wheel trying to eat his own stash was permanently seared into the internet's memory. The on-camera incidents just kept stacking up after that. In July 2024, he posted an Instagram video casually swallowing several pills on camera, announcing he was about to glitch, like taking a fistful of opioids was the most normal thing in the world for him. Then in September 2025, he went on Instagram Live while driving on I-95 in Miami, shirtless, sipping lean straight from the bottle with a straw, not parked, not pulled over, cruising on one of the busiest highways in South Florida, while clearly not in his right mind, rambling about lectures and briefcases while sipping lean on the highway. His attorney later tried to claim it was just juice or a prank, but fans were not having it given everything else they had already witnessed from this man. Then came the May 2025 freestyle on the Radar, where Kodak rapped about being a young man with a meth habit, not perks, not lean meth. A line detonated on the internet, and fans could not believe what they were hearing. Comments poured in asking how everybody was just going to sit there and ignore what he openly said into a microphone. Some people tried to write it off as artistic exaggeration, but given his history, the alarm was real and it was loud. He eventually addressed it in an October 2025 live stream, saying he had tried it but was not currently using, that everybody does stuff like that, and it is nothing, and that people just wanted something to hold against him. Through all of this chaos, Kodak went through multiple rounds of rehab. The first major stint came in September 2021 when a judge ordered him into 90 days of inpatient rehabilitation after he failed drug tests while on supervised release. He completed the program by December 2021, and his lawyer reported the judge was satisfied with his progress. Kodak told the world he was clean and sober and talked about getting back to touring and creating music like a new man. That sobriety window lasted roughly a year before everything started cracking again. By February 2023, he had missed a mandatory drug test and then tested positive for fentanyl on the very next one. A Broward County judge ordered him into 30 days of inpatient rehab, but even let him push back the start date so he could perform at Rolling Loud, California first. The man tested positive for one of the most lethal drugs in existence and still got the green light to rock a festival before checking in. After the December 2023 arrest, Kodak went on Instagram Live and poured it all out. He admitted the percoid abuse had gotten completely out of hand. He said he had voluntarily spent $350,000 on rehab because he wanted to get himself together for his children. He framed it as a personal choice, not something a court forced on him. And for a brief stretch of time, fans believed the man was turning a real corner. In April 2024, he celebrated his progress publicly, saying he was happier than he had ever been and had taken the dependency seriously. By July 2024, he was telling fans he was sober for the most part, could go several days straight without touching a thing, and was no longer afraid of living his life clean. But then November 2024 arrived. The Kaisnot stream happened. The pill toss went viral. The defensive Instagram Live came right after it. And just like that, every rehab update, every sobriety celebration, every post about progress got buried under one clip of him catching a percoid in his mouth on live television. Later that same month, in a moment of brutal honesty that erased months of recovery talk, Kodak told his audience he is never sober. The Adam 22 sit-down from an earlier interview had already given fans a preview of how deep the impairment really ran. On the No Jumper podcast with Adam 22, when the topic of a previous appearance where Kodak looked completely zoned out came up, the exchange got genuinely uncomfortable.
Like standing up suddenly in the middle of the interview and just kind of swaying back and forth, my brain, like the part of my brain that knows what it feels like to get up, was like, oh yeah, he's on a good one right there.
Adam 22 was describing exactly what he saw with his own two eyes. And when he pressed Kodak to actually address it, Kodak said he did not even remember the incident happening. The host kept going though. That line right there says everything.
Well, yeah, I mean, usually if you get loaded, it'll last a good 2 hours, right?
The man was so consistently impaired during public appearances that hosts were referencing it the way people talk about traffic on the freeway. Even Boozy Bidaz found himself navigating a similar situation, except it was with his own son, Tootie Raw, and an addiction to lean. The parallel between what Boozy was going through at home and what the entire internet was watching with Kodak was hard to ignore.
I feel disrespect every time you say something about me. I don't feel disrespect. That shit ain't nothing to me though. I don't.
The irony hit different when Bowie turned right around and went after Kodak in March 2026, publicly accusing him of having a full-blown cocaine problem, claiming he personally watched Kodak snort lines repeatedly during a studio session and then escalating to saying Kodak smokes crack. He called him a crackhead on multiple occasions and posted a warning telling Kodak to chill before one of his fans sells him a lace pack that stops his heart. That was a chilling thing to say out loud considering how many people in this industry have died from exactly that scenario. The rehab cycle keeps spinning. Every time it looks like Kodak might actually break free, something drags him right back into the same pattern. And the drugs are only one piece of this whole thing because the legal system has been just as relentless in making sure this man never catches a real break. Legal nightmares that wrecked Kodak's prime. In October 2015, right as Atlantic Records was reaching out with serious interest, Kodak got arrested in Pompano Beach for robbery, battery, kidnapping, and false imprisonment after allegedly forcing people into his vehicle because he suspected them of breaking into his home. 2 months later, another arrest for marijuana and paraphernalia down in St. Lucie County. He was building real momentum in the music industry and building a rap sheet at the exact same speed. Then February 2016 brought the charge that would shadow him longer than any song he ever made. In South Carolina, after a performance, Kodak was accused of sexual battery following an alleged hotel room incident. He was indicted in 2017 with up to 30 years on the table. The case dragged through the courts for years before he eventually pleaded to first-degree assault and battery in 2021, getting 18 months of probation under a deal that dropped the original charge. That single case fundamentally changed how the industry and the public viewed him during the exact years he should have been building an untouchable legacy. From 2016 to 2018, the violations kept piling up without pause. House arrest breaches, probation violations, anger management disruptions, and firearms charges kept rotating him through the system on repeat. A January 2018 home raid turned up a stolen firearm, ammunition, and marijuana after an Instagram live showed a child in the vicinity of drugs and weapons. He caught additional charges, including possession by a felon. Some were eventually dropped, but the damage to his public image was done, and it was not coming back. The single biggest legal blow dropped in 2019. Right before Rolling Loud Miami, federal agents arrested Kodak on firearms charges for making false statements on background check forms to purchase guns. One of those firearms was later connected to a shooting involving a rival artist. Although Kodak himself was never charged for that particular incident, pleaded guilty and received a 46-month federal sentence. That sentence yanked him completely out of the game during hip-hop's absolute golden age of streaming. While peers in his exact lane were stacking up billions of plays and landing features left and right, Kodak was locked in a high-security facility in Kentucky, watching it happen from the outside. He served around 10 months before President Donald Trump commuted his sentence in January 2021, a decision that landed alongside Lil Wayne's pardon in the same round. The commutation pointed to Kodak's charity work and handed him a second chance that the overwhelming majority of people in his position simply do not get. And for a while, it genuinely looked like he was about to cash that opportunity in. He dropped Super Gremlin, which peaked at number 3 on the Hot 100 and went multi-platinum. He landed a new deal with Capitol Records. The comeback was legitimate, and the numbers backed it up, but the legal chaos kept finding its way back to his front door. His long-running feud with former close collaborator Jack Boy escalated from social media disses and deleted tweets into something nobody could have prepared for in January 2023 after a Jack Boy performance at a Sanford, Florida nightclub. A van carrying 6 women leaving the event was targeted in a drive-by shooting. Armor-piercing rounds ripped through the vehicle. A 31-year-old woman named Princess Toever lost her life. 5 others were injured. After 13 months of investigating, the Sano County Sheriff announced 13 arrests connected to a gang called On Top Forever and publicly named the Kodak Jack Boy beef as the likely motive behind the attack. The shooters hit the wrong vehicle entirely. Kodak was never charged, but the direct link between a rap feud that started on social media and an innocent woman dying from it showed everybody just how far off the rails things had gotten. Footage from law enforcement interrogating one of Kodak's associates about his connections to the crew surfaced, and the exchange showed exactly how the code of silence operated around him.
What's your affiliation with Kodak?
I have no affiliation with Kodak.
What's your affiliation with Golden Acres?
Investigators pushed harder trying to crack the wall, but every single answer came back the same way.
You want to talk about any of that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. The gun that you threw. Where did you get the gun from?
What gun?
Nothing. complete stonewall on every question they asked. The investigation moved forward without a word of cooperation. On the civil side of things, the people who were shot alongside Kodak at that 2022 Super Bowl after-party filed a $10 million lawsuit against him, claiming his actions at the party escalated the confrontation that led to the gunfire. His attorney called it one of the most ridiculous lawsuits he had ever laid eyes on. And in March 2026, the plaintiffs walked away and dropped the entire thing with zero settlement paid and no option to bring it back. That was a rare win in an ocean of legal losses for this man. His personal life took a serious hit in 2025 when a vicious custody battle with ex Miranda Johnson went public. She accused him of repeated violence, including an incident where she said he dislocated her jaw while she was carrying his child. No criminal charges were ever filed against him for those allegations. Johnson herself got arrested at the courthouse during a hearing on charges related to smashing his car windshields. The entire mess was settled in September 2025 with a parenting plan, and the associated lawsuits were tossed out, but the headlines had already left their dent on a man fighting to keep any shred of his public image intact. The boozy beef only added more weight to the pile. On top of all the drug accusations already covered, Boozy went straight at Kodak's credibility as a street rapper, dragging up the old claim that Kodak checked into protective custody while doing his federal time, one of the worst labels you can carry in that world.
Mr. PC. You check PC, my nigga. Nothing you rap is valid anymore, bro.
Boozy was absolutely relentless with it, saying that checking PC erased every bar Kodak ever spit, and that even rappers without a single hit record have more respect. Kodak was not about to sit quiet either, coming back with bars aimed directly at Boozy on a new track.
Hey, I got more bread, that old head stupid. You don't need move like an OG. Couldn't sign me, so you got Coley, you know me. I switch.
Those lines accused Boozy of being bitter and jealous over Kodak's financial success. But the damage from Boozy's addiction accusations was already spreading across every hip-hop platform, and there was no taking it back. One more moment worth mentioning is when a YouTuber walked up to Kodak trying to diamond test his jewelry, and Yak was absolutely not having any part of it. Kodak compared testing his ice to testing his manhood, and said he takes too much pride in what he wears to let anybody question it on camera. That exchange captured exactly who Kodak still is underneath everything else. A man whose pride stays burning hot even when everything around him is on fire. And through all these legal battles and court dates and feuds and personal chaos, the career impact has been staggering. The music was never the issue. Painting Pictures debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200. Dying to Live hit number 1. ZZ with Travis Scott and Offset peaked at number 2 and went sexal platinum. Super Gremlin was a genuine cultural moment. He has put out multiple top 10 albums and stacked platinum certifications that most rappers will never sniff. The talent was never the question, but every single time he built momentum, something dragged him right back to zero. The federal sentence landed right when he was peeing commercially. Canceled tours, missed collaboration opportunities, and delayed releases became the standard operating procedure for his career. Artists who were mentioned in the same breath as him in 2017 went on to build empires, while Kodak bounced between courtrooms, rehab facilities, and probation offices. The public image shifted from next-up superstar to troubled talent, and every fresh arrest reinforced that exact same story. That's all for now, fam. To get never-ending updates on clips like this, be sure to click on the card showing on the screen.